Well, now I would like to bring some cheer into the discussions, and we invite what is the flavor of the discussions these days, and that's the solar energy. Solar energy. And I am inviting Mr. Pashupathy Gopalan, who is the President and MD Asia Pacific for SunEdison Energy India Private Limited.
Thank you, Chairman, and ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure to be here. I have 5 minutes, so I'm going to make 3 points. 3 big points. There are lots of issues, but I want to see what the opportunities are that the private sector can address in a very, very big way. One is around capital. If you have about 150 gigawatts that need to get constructed or 200 gigawatts that need to get constructed in the next 5-7 years, you need approximately $150 to $200 billion in renewable energy. A lot of people can talk about all the challenges and problems, and let's talk about the capital issues. That's point number one. Second is around 400 million people, energy access, don't get electricity. And if you say that they have the ability to spend about $50 a year, right, based on the discussions we had yesterday, even if in the state of Bihar, out of the 7,000 rupees that's available through the Aadhaar direct transfer mechanism, if 3,000 rupees was to allocate it for electricity and you make it electricity points and they spend $50, that is worth about $20 billion. And even if you assume 25% of that falls to the bottom line, and you get a multiple of 10, that's close to $50 billion of wealth that can be created in serving this segment. Now the question is, how do you serve? So that'll be another point I'll talk about. Third point is, you have about 30 million irrigation pumps. Let's say 5 of those are diesel. We'll keep that aside. 25 million pumps are essentially electricity pumps, which the government of India and the state government subsidize. And the subsidy is in the tune of, I think, about $12 billion a year, all the states and everybody put together. This is almost perpetual. I think it's very difficult for a political leader to remove that. So if you look at a stream of $12 billion into perpetuity, it's, I think, worth $150, $200 billion problem if you were to solve it. You go survey the farmers. We haven't yet found a farmer that's happy. Maybe in the state of Gujarat and a few other states, there's pockets. But by and large, the 25 million odd farmers are not happy because they get electricity in the nighttime for 4 hours. It's unpredictable. They get a 5 horsepower connection. Because it's unpredictable, they put a 10 horsepower pump and suck up a lot more water than they need to. As a result, they can only do flood irrigation of certain crops. They can't use precise water because they don't control the amount of water. Groundwater is depleting. Every chief minister has a problem of dark districts because the groundwater is depleting. Farmers, many of them have died because of serpent bites since they have to go to the farms in the night. Problems after problems. And then if you go to a state like Tamil Nadu, there is 500,000 people that are waiting for connections, for some of them for 10 years after having paid, and the government cannot afford to give more connections because already the exchequer is spending $12 billion. Huge problem. So those are the 3 topics, right? In the first topic, I'm not going to talk about the debt itself. I think the Indian system has, in the case of renewable, I think a lot has changed in the last 5 years. So 70-75% of the capital which will come from the banks, I think, is available. And I'm not going to talk about the debt side of. So about 25% which the sponsors and the private sector has to put up. One mechanism, we have just recently, about 30 days back, we concluded the listing of, I believe, the first infrastructure portfolio of assets from India in NASDAQ in New York. And this was obviously a diversified vehicle, but everything developed out of our Indian operations. We raised $2.2 billion for our renewable energy assets out of India, but we also did assets in other countries. And the concept is really paying a cash yield. If you look at it, I think renewable resources are predictable. Solar and sun is going to be here forever. And the cash flows are predictable. I think the discoms in India, while everybody complains that they have serious financial health, I think everybody eventually pays. Maybe you take a 1 year as a prudent equity investor, you say that you will have to assume a delay of a year. If it's better than that, fine. If not, then you just, in your cash flows and working capital, allow for a year's delay. If you did that, the resources are not an issue. You're not going to face the same problem as you face with gas or coal because the resources are going to be here. Why can't we take a product to the Indian public, as you're talking about private participation? The public of India can participate in instruments that give them 11, 12, 13% return for 25 years. There is no such instrument in India today that can give a household or a retiree, maybe in his 40s he's trying to plan his retirement, for 25, 30 years, 12%, 11.5%, 11%, 13% coupon, day in and day out, with predictability, no market risk, and this can happen with this sector. I think that's the beauty of having renewable assets, and that's the type of listing we've done in NASDAQ. In the context of India, I think the RBI and SEBI have released the rules for InvITs, and we need to somehow encourage and make it happen and get it off the ground so the public of India can participate and fund the 25-30% equity portion. I think personally that's the most scalable amount of capital, and you have to go into the public markets to get the money. Coming to microgrids, second large problem, right? We said there's $50 billion of wealth to be created. Unfortunately, my time is up. I'm going to stop. Thank you.